Hi, and welcome to the presentation of my bachelor thesis titled The Influence of Developing Countries' Company CSR Initiatives on Consumer Purchase Intentions in the Developed Countries Market, a case of Indonesian food company in the Netherlands. My name is Carissa Anjani, and I am a double degree student from the University of Groningen and Bandung Institute of Technology, majoring in international business. Today's slide will include introduction, background, research gap, research question, hypothesis, methodology, results, and closing up on the discussion and conclusion. Starting up on the introduction, the global business landscape has seen CSR emerge as a critical determinant of consumer behavior and market dynamics, whereas consumers now prioritizing CSR in purchase decisions compel businesses to publicize initiatives for favorable responses. Dutch consumers' growing interest in organic food and sustainability, urging producers towards sustainable practices. So, studying CSR effects on developed market consumer intentions using a developing country firm reveals unique factors shaping responses, as the effect of CSR on purchase intention is largely unexplored in developing countries, and consumers may underestimate their role in developing countries with lower average incomes, which in turn would make the responsive distinctive from those in developed countries. So, this perspective adds an additional layer to the investigation, as it implies that the consumers in developing countries might approach CSR initiatives with different expectations and attitudes compared to consumers in developed countries. Here, PT Indo Food Success Makmur, an Indonesian food company, can offer insights into cross-cultural dynamics as well as filling research gaps and enhancing generalizability by considering the diversity and consumer attitudes and perceptions across developed markets in a developing country firm. Evaluating Indofood CSR on Dutch consumers seeks to establish correlations between sustainable practices and consumer preferences, contributing to ethical consumer behavior discourse and aiding socially conscious markets. Existing studies reveal a gap between consumer attitudes and actual sustainable food consumption behaviors, as when there is an interest in sustainable food practices, there may be barriers or gaps in translating this interest into actual consumption behavior. Limited exploration of CSR impacts in developing country markets also underscores the need for the deeper investigation. Consumers may respond differently to the CSR notion, especially in emerging and developing countries, which reflects on the existing gap in understanding consumer perceptions of CSR in this context. So, consequently, this research aims to bridge this gap by evaluating the effectiveness of Indofood CSR strategies in driving sustainable food consumption among Dutch consumers, contributing to ethical consumer behavior discourse, and offering practical implications for socially conscious markets like the Netherlands. Here we come to the main research question. How do Indofood's corporate social responsibility initiatives influence Dutch consumers' purchase intentions of the company's food products, which is divided into several sub-questions on the presentation slide. And the literature review formed into this hypothesis, with the first hypothesis being the CSR initiatives undertaken by a firm originating from a developing country positively influence consumer purchase intention in a developed country's market, and the second one being as the CSR initiatives by a firm originating from a developing country positively shape the developed country's consumer perception of the company's CSR practices. And then the next one is that the positive consumer preferences regarding a developing country's company CSR initiatives positively impact consumer purchase intention in a developed country. And the last one is that the CSR initiatives by a developing country firm will positively contribute to the formation of favorable consumer preferences regarding the company's CSR, which ultimately leading to an increase in consumer purchase intention in a developed countries market. So from those hypotheses, we came up with this conceptual model with the independent variable is company CSR initiatives, and the dependent variable is purchase intention, and the mediator variable is consumer perception of company CSR. And the control variable are age, gender, and residency. So this is a partially mediated relationship between the three mentioned variables. Moving on to the methodology part. The study used a web-based survey employing a questionnaire served as the primary method for data collection. So the questionnaire focuses on products originating from Indonesia that are available in the Netherlands by using a random sampling method to ensure representation. So utilizing the randomized feature on Qualtrics, the survey questionnaires among two groups um, were distributed randomly, with Group 1 with a received comprehensive product and CSR information, and the Group 2 only received general product information without CSR context. Both groups were queried about their awareness of the company's CSR activities as an independent variable, their preferences regarding the company's CSR as a mediating variable, and their intentions to purchase the product as a dependent variable. So this sampling followed the Johnston method with a sample size of 210 respondents for a 95% confidence interval with 0.03 precision, and additionally also implemented a sample size twice as large as required by simple random sampling, aligning with the Salganik's precision method. Based on this data collection, utilizing Qualtrics online questionnaire, the study received a total of 210 respondents living in the Netherlands for the past 6 months, with the male, female, and other percentage, with perfect randomization for both treatment groups, which is 50% exposed with the firm's CSR information and 50% not exposed with the firm's CSR information. And the majority of the respondents are within the age group of 18 and 24, followed by 25 and 34, and etc. Additionally, correlation and reliability tests were conducted, and all of the variables reached the minimum score of Cronbach's alpha to allow summing up the variables. So, hence, we are safe to sum up the variables. To test the hypothesis, a mediation analysis by Hayes process model 4 is performed, and the reason behind the utilization of this test is to see the mediation relationship between all variables involved, with CSR initiatives as the independent variable, consumer perception of the company's CSR as the mediator variable, and purchase intention as the dependent variable. Based on these test results, we can see that the direct effect of CSR initiatives on purchase intention was not significant, indicating a lack of direct influence, which shows that the hypothesis 1 could not be supported. And then the effect of CSR initiatives on consumer perception of the company's CSR was significant, with CSR initiatives having a stronger impact on consumer perceptions when samples are presented with the company's CSR information. And the consumer perception of company's CSR has a significantly positive effect on purchase intention too, which validates the hypothesis 2 and 3. And lastly, there was a significant indirect relationship between CSR initiatives and purchase intention through consumer perception of company CSR as the mediator. So this also validate the hypothesis 4. However, This hypothesis, since CSR initiatives do not have a direct effect on purchase intention when consumer perception is controlled for, the only way that CSR can affect purchase intention is indirectly through consumer perception. Thus, the relationship is no longer a partially mediated relationship, as now it is transformed into a fully mediated relationship. Moving on to the discussion and conclusion part of the thesis. Based on hypothesis 1, Dutch consumers may prioritize factors like price over CSR in purchasing decisions. And then there's also high interest in sustainability among Dutch consumers. That may not be translated directly to purchase decisions. And also other considerations and varying prioritization may hinder CSR initiatives' direct effect on purchase intention in the Netherlands. And then also the result of hypothesis 2, CSR initiatives aimed to positively influence consumer preferences regarding the company's CSR practices. So both of the groups supported the hypothesis, and CSR exposed groups showed stronger positive relationship between the variables, and the presence of CSR information enhances the impact of CSR initiatives on consumer perception. Next hypothesis, hypothesis 3, shows that consumer perception of company CSR positively influences purchase intention, and the both treatment groups showed significant positive relationship between variables, but then the CSR exposed group demonstrated slightly higher effect than the non-exposed group, and the absence of CSR information may magnify importance of consumer perception of company. And also, additionally, differences in consumer characteristics could also influence the results, but overall, small coefficient difference limits strong conclusions from the findings. And lastly, the fourth hypothesis, the explicit communication of CSR enhances consumer perception of company social responsibility, and transparency in CSR communication reinforces companies' commitment to social responsibility, which builds consumer identification with companies' values and strengthening their positive perception, which ultimately influences purchase intention and highlights the importance of CSR communication. Based on those discussion, we can conclude that the managerial implication for this study is that we should understand cultural differences in a way that the company should tailor CSR messaging to resonate more with the target audience, and recognize that other factors like price may still outweigh CSR considerations in the country. And then emphasized on proactive communication, so we can communicate CSR initiatives through various channels and engage consumers even when they are not explicitly seeking CSR information. And also emphasizing the importance of strategy integration, where we should integrate CSR initiatives into the overall business strategy and consider conducting company specific investigations for more tailored strategies. Moving on to the further research and limitations part, while offering valuable insights, the study faces limitations that warrant consideration for future research. Firstly, the singular case study focusing on only Indonesian products in the Netherlands limits generalizability to broader contexts. And then the small respondent pool of 210 participants raises concerns about direct extrapolation to the entire Dutch population. And methodological challenges include reliance on the 7-point Likert scale for CSR exposure classification, also suggests the need for larger and more representative samples. And future investigation should expand beyond single country, single product focuses to offer a more comprehensive understanding of CSR impact on consumer behavior across diverse markets and product types. So that is all for my presentation today, and I close this presentation with a quote: ethics is the new competitive environment for food of thoughts. And thank you. That's all from me.